Hi everyone, this is Joan, and my apologies. The video I made cut off early, and I'm sorry about that. I have been speaking about how these religious men, especially African American men, Hebrew Israelites, or whatever, how they, now this is particular that I know of to the GLCC, how they are now preaching that in one video I saw that women were going to form groups and start targeting men, which is what? And then the next video I saw that men should be aware because women are sneaky and don't have the physical strength to harm them directly, women would start um, poisoning them. Okay, what? I mean, and in that video, I did bring up the femicide rate, the black femicide rate, that if anything, he should be preaching, hey, men, stop beating up and killing the women. But he's not preaching that. And I don't even think that they acknowledge that at all. The point is, I felt that this is extremely dangerous what he's saying because he is making women, black women, targets, and we already are targets. So we don't need someone who has a following of his size telling men that the women are the ones who are dangerous. And what was really aggravating to me was how many women were sitting there listening and at the end got up and applauded him. I saw this video, Cordon. I think she does an excellent job in all of her videos, where she is talking about how this preference, mother, and encouraged, well, at least did not discourage her son from um, Emming his baby, his girlfriend. She knew what he was going to do from the text messages. She drove him there to do it. And before you start saying that, yep, that's how those black women are. Look at this woman. She is not a black woman. She is a mixed woman. She might have some black ancestry back there somewhere. But whoever it was who she had the baby by, probably the baby being her now adult son, probably was not looking at her thinking, yep, she sure looks like the motherland to me. No, I don't think so. So stop blaming what your mixed preferences and your non-black women do on black women. And black women need to stop accepting these people as being your contemporaries because they're not. And they know they're not. If you are brown or dark skinned and you walk up and you say, I want to join this biracial group, look how closely they will throw you out and tell you you don't belong. But if they come into your group, you accept them. You admire and even envy them. No, you don't even so much envy them because you're quick to want to accept your Halle Berrys and Vanessa Williams and whoever else is out there who looks more like other nations than you because you think that they are prettier than you and smarter than you and more deserving than you. That's what the world has told you. And the Savior said, be no part of this world. That is, when they tell you you're ugly, you don't have to believe them. You have to say, well, the only person who really matters, only opinion that really matters is the Savior's. I'm sorry, it's the Most High. And he didn't say that. So therefore, if you don't like what I have been given and what I'm presenting, you need to take it up with him. Because, I'm quite happy with what I got. But no, instead you absorb it and you force other people. And I'm speaking to the women. You force other people to absorb it. And when they try to tell you, no, it doesn't work that way, you fight just as hard as the men to uphold it. I don't think you could go to a group of men and say, you know what, you men are dangerous. I'm scared of you. You're trying to poison me. You're going to form groups and try to come after me. But actually, there are men online who have suggested that they form groups and come after black women. But I don't think the women who were in that audience, I don't know, maybe they think that black women deserve it. I don't know. picture I've been referring to, where the women are applauding the man who's saying that men have to be careful because women are dangerous and sneaky. Looking at this, it was just, I don't know, it's very disheartening to me. You have all these women supporting him, and if you notice, they're wearing their headscarves, which the Savior never told you to do. He did not say that. And like I said, I think that there is a hierarchy even in the Bible. That is, there was only one perfect person who came here and was totally loyal to the Most High, and that was his son. His son is our exemplar. It is not Paul. It is not Timothy. I'm not saying that they weren't great righteous men and all that, though I do think Paul is somewhat debatable. But the fact is, none of them were perfect. And the disciples, some of the time, had no idea what the Savior was talking about. They totally misinterpreted it. That doesn't mean they weren't great, but that means that you are not to worship them and think just because they said, hey, put a scarf on, that means you had to do it because the Savior walked around for 3.5 years of his ministry. He never told you anything about the way you dressed. He didn't. And there are other prophecies that he said. There's one in particular he said about women that GLCC, nor pretty much any other church that I've seen, has ever said anything about. This is Matthew 26, 6 through 13. And this is the New International Version. While Jesus was in Bethany in the home of Simon the leper, a woman came to him with an alabaster jar of very expensive perfume, which she poured on his head as he was reclining at the table. When the disciples saw this, they were indignant. Why this waste? They asked. This perfume could have been sold at a high price and the money given to the poor. Aware of this, Jesus said to them, why are you bothering this woman? She has done a beautiful thing to me. The poor you will always have with you, but you will not always have me. When she poured this perfume on my body, she did it to prepare me for burial. Truly, I tell you, wherever this gospel is preached throughout the world, what she has done will also be told in memory of her. Now, I ask you, have you heard this being preached throughout the world at any church or Hebrew Israelite, whatever it is they call it, meeting, or at the Kingdom Hall? They might mention it occasionally, but for the most part, he says, wherever the gospel is preached. That's how much the Savior thought of women. He didn't say, well, woman, shut up, go sit in the back and put a scarf on your head. He didn't say anything like that. He even went to the point of saying, wherever the gospel is preached, that he was the Son of the Most High, wherever that's preached, and that he's going to return and fix everything. Wherever the true gospel is preached, he has also said that you should talk about her also. You don't hear that in any of these platforms. Nobody does that. So I think that the major problem I have with any organized religion is that they tell you that they want you to study the Bible with them. No, what they want you to do is adhere to their doctrine, to their interpretation of the Bible. The only person who totally can get everything right is not currently walking the earth. The rest of us are flawed, make mistakes, and have biases. But I think that if you're really going to study the Bible, then you would listen when someone tries to point out, hey, your chart that has all, you're trying to tell us where all these 12 tribes are, it can't be accurate. Many people have come and said this is not correct. To me, it is a certain amount of arrogance to decide that no, I've got it all right. Everything I say is right. I can't make no mistakes. And that is pretty much every church. Everybody who tells you that they're studying with you, they're not studying with you, they're indoctrinating you. And I think that when you stand before the Most High, you do not get to bring them up and say, well, they told me that, because I think the Savior will I don't know what he'll say, but he did give you a separate brain. He did allow you, regardless of whether you feel like, well, I'm a woman, I'm not as smart as him. Well, you're smart enough. you're smart enough to open it up and read it for yourself because your life does depend on it. And some people are very concerned about their life and not at all concerned about yours. So they can say things that put your life in danger, but they figure they'll be okay. No, God, when He made Adam and Eve, He definitely made Adam first, but He was to share the location, the earth, with Eve. It wasn't just Him alone. And I believe that just because something comes from you does not mean it is better than you. Women give birth every day of the week. Does that mean that every child is better than every mother? Then how is that possible? That would mean that society would be improving instead of retrograding. What they're saying is illogical. It doesn't make sense. So I don't mean to get passionate about this, but I do think people's lives are involved and that you can't just follow people without questioning because people will lead you anywhere and then laugh when you fall. So this is just something to consider. If you have any questions or concerns, please put them in the comments. And like I said, I'm not picking on GOCC. I tend to listen to them about some things, but not everything. I listen to a lot of men. I do. I do not have a problem with a lot of things they say, but I don't blindly follow anybody. I recognize that they're human beings. Even if you believe that they are primary and women are secondary, they are still made of flesh and blood, just like anybody else. So they are also capable of being selfish, of being mistaken, of just being downright wrong. Like I keep saying, when you stand before the Most High on Judgment Day, you don't get to call them up and say, well, you guys explain why I did this because, even though God gave me a brain, I chose not to use it. No, it doesn't work that way. Whatever it is you have, it's up to you to use it. You can't just blindly follow anybody. So, you guys, you have a great rest of your day.